writing, I have always wanted to bring that kind of convenience of understanding the complicated subjects. I have been always fortunate to be supported by my husband in various kind of things. Still, things are not working in the way we want because the mindset and belief system that we carry through our childhood. I have been an introvert person for always. Though I never wanted to be, I wanted to be social, but there were certain things that were stopping me to go out. And I got response from there. People were actually responding to me, to my on my email IDs, that they want help. But at that time, I was just, researching the subject and I was just writing it. Everywhere, I found myself like, what I am thinking is my weakness. It is my strength. I could have been a scientist.
On to today's very interesting session. And today we are going to be delving deeper into conversation with Leena Vikram, who comes now in the space of behavioral leadership coaching, specifically for women. And this is something that really comes for her own passion and desire, where she's been able to recognize the pattern that women are going through in terms of their behavior, and thereby being able to coach them, help them, and being able to provide the stability and accountability as well. Of course, we're talking about coaching as a pattern that she's developed for herself, but in the past, she comes across from as a commerce background, supporting her husband in her digital marketing realm, where he's completely running an agency and doing a whole lot of stints in between with authorship. I might as well want to tell you that Leena is an author of 3 important books which are prescribed, and she's also a book which is published on Amazon with so many different milestones that Leena has been able to achieve for herself. Let's find out that where is it that she is today and what really brings her to do this. So welcome, Leena, to this very important session today that we're going to be holding up for you. So tell us, and let's get started with this, that why do you do what you do today, Leena?
Thank you so much for having me here. It is like wonderful intro for me. Have gone through so many things in my life, but have never counted. And you just made me realize that I have gone through this journey. And thank you for having me here. So, what is it and that I do, and why am I doing it? It is like I am always inclined towards women, towards empowerment of women, because I have gone through. It has never like been any unfortunate situation, but I have seen women struggling because in Indian setting where we are, every time working and every time, giving our life complete, we are like passionate to nurture our families, but we hardly give importance to our own self, our own aspirations. So I grew up in that kind of environment where my mom, my aunt, and my grandmother, everybody was, just helping my family to be what we are today. So they have never given importance to their own health as well. And now I see them struggling in those phases. So I just want to create that kind of environment, that kind of ecosystem, mentally and as well as externally, so that, women are able to realize what they need to do for themselves to live the life they actually deserve.
Wow. So, Leena, and I've always been able to study this fact that, whatever we are doing in terms of training and coaching, and specifically in this specific sector, and what we're trying to impart in terms of our learnings, it's actually the learnings that we have received for ourselves in life, and something that we understand for our own life, something that we think that, really has helped us, is thereby what we are trying to impart as well. Has something similar happened with you as well?
A lot many things have happened with me, and I've gone through so many various phases in my life. It is only when we go through various kind of problems and hardships we understand the importance of our own self and how we are not taking care of ourselves. So it's like on the health part as well. And when we are raising our kids and when we are not actually taking care of ourselves, and then in that race of life we are not actually, it was with me that I have been always fortunate to be supported by my husband in various kind of things. Still, things are not working in the way we want because the mindset and belief system that we carry through our childhood is playing a major role. So I have always come from my back. I have come from a background where, we are three sisters, and there was no brother. So it is like this kind of environment everywhere in these kind of families, that ladies or girls, just they are just made for just nurturing others, to create the families and just
Yeah.
help others here. And then we are never taught about entrepreneurship or financial independence.
Yeah.
So this is something that I wanted for myself. I wanted to be financially independent, but at the same time, I wanted to be myself. It is not just about financial benefits and monetary benefits. It is also about having your own name. So I like it was my aspiration to be recognized as something very, like a beautiful person who is like remembered even after when she is not there in the world. So
Mm.
this has been my aspiration since my childhood. I just don't want to live my life just like that only. But I have seen women around me, they, in fact, even right now, women are not that much conscious about themselves. So I'm also coming from that, and I feel they should be taking care of that. They should be aware and conscious about their own needs and how they should be growing and progressing in having an identity for themselves. So that is where I always wanted to create identity for myself.
Lovely.
Yeah, like
So
when
that really talks about that you were able to identify a specific pattern, if I may say, right? And that is a pattern that we're talking about, which means that we want to identify areas where we are getting stuck, there's a deadlock, and now we want to break through from the same as well. And that's why we're taking up several initiatives. So as I've been able to understand from your life, you've taken several different initiatives. It could also be from practicing, as you mentioned, writing up a book. It could also be mentioning, practicing in terms of different kinds of exercises and yoga that you has mentioned as well. And you have tried your heart out to create that niche, to create that standing, first by venturing into all of these areas. Then, how are you able to identify your niche? Your niche as, behavioral pattern coach. How are you able to zero down on this?
it is like my passion, it is like my purpose of my life, I have realized. And if you say like how did I understood that this is my this is where I have recognized that I want to go into behavioral leadership. I have been an introvert person for always, though I never wanted to be. I wanted to be social, but there were certain things that were stopping me to go out. And at the same time, I'm a very ambitious person, so I realized this thing that being ambitious is not enough. You need to go out, you need to be visible. But if we are even visible, these things are not creating that result for us. So how we are supposed to bring that result for ourselves? So if we are behaving in a certain manner, like there is there's a saying that when every action has its opposite and equal reaction. So it is in that manner only that I wanted to create something, because I am always interested into human behavior, into human mind, how our mind works, and how if my mind is working in a certain manner, it's very much obvious that other person is also going through certain kind of situations and mindsets and beliefs. So
Yeah.
if we understand that part, we
Mm.
can, mold everything according to ourselves. So first thing is like working on our own selves. We cannot tell and teach or preach others to bring change in their own way of talking and
Mm.
behaving. It is the first step always starts with us. So if we understand, like if for example, if I understand like how do I need to behave, because when you are with kids, you cannot expect them to behave with maturity with yourself unless you respect them in that way.
So,
So
how would you like to tell us, Leena, that you can probably try and map that for yourself? That like it's like a funnel, right? That you started, and you're like a creative person, so you'll be able to identify that how slowly and gradually you started to come down on finding out areas of your niche, to find out that what you're truly going to be working out for, right? So you've done in the past, whether we're talking about Vastu, as you mentioned, whether you're talking about Zumba or tarot card reading that you mentioned about doing, and a lot of different kind of authorship for different category of books, right? And how were you able to really step by step get closer to identifying your niche? Do you think, you'll be able to help us understand that journey?
Yes, I have been always into writing. It was my hobby. I used to have diaries when I was a child. So it goes for every child who is listening to me, and she has certain passion. So it started from there when I was writing diaries. And then after my marriage, I started writing for various websites and newspapers, and I started writing for MSN as well. So my articles started getting published there, and I got response from there. People were actually responding to me to my on my email IDs that they want help. But at that time, I was just researching the subject, and I was just writing it. And what my passion was always that I wanted to ease out the things for people to understand. There are various complicated subjects, for example, Vastu, for example, Feng Shui, for example, even belief system. These are the things that people just need to understand in like very much small bite-sized pieces so that they can understand. So through my writing, I have always wanted to bring that kind of convenience of understanding the complicated subjects. So when I started with writing, I got response. Then I became a writer for various web aggregators and insurance industry. Then I got this offer of writing a book for Pondicherry University as their courseware. And from there, I realized that, okay, I can do this as well, because they basically, when they approached me for the writing, for writing their own book, they first of all told me that we want you to write because we don't want theoretical book. We want something conversational because your style is conversation. The way you write your articles, we want you to write a book in that way. So this was something that I thought, okay, this is the need. People need conversation. They do not need theory. They do not need books. They
Yeah.
need actual concepts. So I started building myself from there. I got, a lot of confidence in myself. But then always there was this feeling of helping women and helping people on collective manner, how they can move towards success, how they can do. So I was always interested towards writing on physical health, on mindset, on spirituality, and how they can, choose right and wrong, what is right and what is wrong for them. So I have always been inclined. I am all like, since my childhood, I have always, writing on these subjects only, that how can I create a beautiful life for myself.
Wow. Yeah.
Like this was the writing phase. And after that, when my husband and me started with this company, a marketing agency, marcom18.com. So there I started supporting my husband. And from that, we were in Kuwait during COVID times. And there, when I was sitting at home, I started getting interested in learning tarot, because spirituality and occult was always my interest. I started writing articles on my own. It was never like a structured learning for me. Still, when I got this opportunity, I just grabbed it. I became a tarot consultant. And in that time, I was also a Zumba instructor. I was taking classes, but I realized that women do not want that. Even when I am doing tarot consultancy, I realized that women are not much, when you tell somebody that, okay, this is the guidance, you need to do that, they just go home and they are waiting for things to happen for them. They are not taking the action.
Yeah.
So that is where I realized that I need to be a life coach,
Mm.
because I want to bring the mindset change. It is not just by theoretical saying or just by helping them to know by cards that, okay, this is your prediction. And this is not the way that we should be living our life. We should be active. We should be responsible for our life. And we can be responsible only when we take the action. So this is something, but how are we going to take the action unless we are not having this kind of belief that we can do something in our life, do something for our own self?
Yeah.
So this is what motivated me to be a life coach. And since we are in living in family, I realized that, many kind of situations are there around us when we are not able to get what we want.
Yeah.
So how to make the other person understand what he is going through, how we can create that kind of conducive environment for everybody. It is not just for me. When I am growing, I'm also helping my husband, my daughter, my entire family to grow together through that kind of environment. So I got into this thing that, okay, uh, when we were in Kuwait, I was researching on this subject. I somehow stumbled upon a book about personality analysis. And from their point onwards, when I found out about myself that this is who I am, I was stunned what I am. Like
Wow.
if I want to share an incident with you, I had this very low confidence when it was about decision making.
Mm-hmm.
We bought this new house and it was all about furnishing, and I am the leader and I need to, just have everything on my head that what is to be done. And in that moment, they were not like, we were not into that kind of situation that we can, hire a interior designer in COVID times. So it was like always on me how I'm going to take things forward, how I'm going to, zero in with any kind of design. But
Yeah.
it took a lot of time for me to decide each and everything. And, everybody around me just got disappointed with me.
Mm.
In that moment, I lost my confidence. I
Mm.
lost my confidence that I can decide anything.
Mm.
Everybody was like, when they said something about me, they said, okay, she's going to take a lot of time. Let's decide among ourselves. Let's not ask her. So
Mm.
this like made me feel, oh, what I'm doing. I am a person who is responsible for my family. I cannot do that. So
Mm.
this was like making me lose myself in the situation, in the life. But when I got to realize who I am actually, my weakness became my strength. So
Mm.
this was the turning point when I realized through my personality analysis, through my mindset beliefs. So whether it is astrology, it is whether it is numerology, it is whether it is various kind of personality tests. I have gone all of them, and it is even finger analysis. We are even into that. So when you do that, everywhere I found myself like, what I am thinking is my weakness. It is my strength. I could have been a scientist.
Yeah.
That is the reason that I take a lot of time in taking a decision, because I just cannot zero in with anything just like that. I work on quality and not on quantity. So this is something that I need to be happy about. It is
Mm.
not something that I need to cry about, that people are thinking this and that about me. My own family is not, having confidence in me for taking any kind of decision. So since that moment, I started decluttering. I stopped taking decision for things that are not important.
Mm.
So I started taking decisions only where it is important for me to step in. And
Right.
there I took a lot of time and research, and every time I took the right decisions. So
Wow.
yeah, so this was a turning point. Since that moment, I decided that I want to help women to understand that what they think is their weakness, it is not their weakness, it
Mm.
is their strength. So how they can understand that it is their strength, it is through their behaviors, understanding themselves, their self-discovery and self-awareness.
Wow. Absolutely amazing. I think I'm completely, stunned to hear how human emotions are so deeply connected. And there were so many parts and phases that, I could have really related to the story because we all feel intimidated at some point or another, Leena. And it was really nice to hear that, how important it is for us to push ourselves to come out of our own boundaries, right? And that's exactly what we've been able to hear. But what was even most interesting was that the way that you've been able to join dots for me and create that blueprint. And for everybody who's listening right now to this, joining blueprints from different phases that may have occurred really back in the past, like Leena said, that she was into writing her own diary, which made her into fall into the love of writing, where she became completely a writer, thereby a content ideation creator. Because of that love for reading and getting to find out more and more details is where you ventured yourself to actually practicing for yourself different forms of learning, whether we spoke about vastu, whether we spoke about the fingerprints. So it was an interesting journey, but what was most important was that you were finding out your why, and that why was in the behavior pattern that I'm going to let allow women to identify pattern for themselves, exactly like the way that you've been able to do it for yourself. I think your story in itself stands like a testament to make everybody realize and believe in the fact that not every time everything is going to fall in place. You're going to be the creator of your life, you're going to be the author of every chapter of your life, and you will have to, at the towards wherever the significant position, be able to get all of them together to make it worthwhile, to make it like a story, like a narrative that you would like to share with somebody. That was truly inspiring. I think that's exactly where we all start from. I'm myself coming from a commerce graduate, today doing something very different into life coaching and completely into mindset and communication coaching. And it's all about finding your niche and finding your why. So that was truly beautiful. And I want to really share this with everyone. Leena comes with somebody who's absolutely had no corporate experience, but still carrying that deep burning desire to create a brand, to create a name for herself. So, Leena, if this was a message being sent out to everybody who could relate to you and to your life right now, what would you like to tell them here?
You are the creator of your life. It is not somebody else. Be the responsible child of our creator. Be the responsible person of your, be responsible for your own life. When we as parents like to see our kids to become responsible for them, our creator also wants to see us responsible for our lives. So if you are going to take the action, he is going to give you even more.
Lovely. Thank you so much. So be the creator of your life and all the time say, I am responsible for my actions and for the outcomes thereby as well. With that, we come to an end of today's interaction, imbibing in the spirit to inspire from one woman to many more women and to many more women thereby. Thank you so much for coming in, Leena. And thank you so much for everybody for listening into this. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you so much, Topika. Thank you so much.